Greetings everyone, my name is Jonathan Bailey and I'm from the website Plagiarism Today, which can be found at plagiarismtoday.com. Happy Thursday everyone, hope your week is going very well. There's two big copyright news stories, one out of the UK today involving the now jail sentence for the operator behind Surf the Channel, but the one I'm going to cover today and the one I'm personally more interested in is the recent Kim.com ruling. Basically, the United States government asked for a judicial review of a requirement that they turn over evidence to Kim.com's attorneys and Megaupload's attorneys in New Zealand. The judicial review came back, and basically the United States lost. Now, it's not a complete loss. To kind of put this in some perspective, Kim.com won the right to see evidence relating to the money laundering and the other non-copyright related issues the United States is alleging, and also evidence that he and Megaupload willfully infringed copyright. So it's a good big chunk of the evidence, but it's not quite everything. Kim.com obviously wanted to see all the evidence. It's not quite all. Like evidence of the contributory copyright infringement and so forth. The non-willful infringement will not be included in that. So it's a big chunk of it, and probably the most important chunk, but not absolutely everything. Still, pretty big win for Kim.com. He was gloating about it on Twitter earlier. Seems pretty happy with it. However, what fascinates me about this case, and the reason I've really been enjoying following it, is if we can all just sort of, take a moment, separate our feelings for Kim.com, love him or hate him, separate it out, and just look at this case from a legal perspective. It's a very fascinating case, and it highlights a lot of the problems that arise when trying to enforce law on an international level, especially when you're dealing with internet-based crimes. For example, you got this issue. The United States has a rule in which it will not turn over evidence to someone who has not submitted to the jurisdiction of the United States. Now, the rule was written with very good intentions. Let's play a different scenario, different law. Say a bank robber robs a bank, gets arrested, gets bail, but goes on the lam. He skips bail. He's no longer submitted to the jurisdiction of the authorities. So why, if his lawyers continue to represent him, why would the United States government, or any government for that matter, continue to turn over evidence against him as part of some pretrial buildup if they're not actually building up for a trial imminently in this case, and he's still on the lam, and that information could be used to help him dodge, being arrested and having his freedom taken away. It's an interesting problem, and applying that to this is very difficult because with this case you have countries like New Zealand which treat extradition very similar to a trial with a prosecution and a defense, and the defense has a right to look at the evidence. Well, Dotcom has not submitted to the jurisdiction of the U.S. And is obviously fighting the extradition to prevent that from happening. So the U.S. is kind of in a bind. Do they bend or break their rules to appease New Zealand, or do they risk not having him extradited? It's a tough question. Another interesting one that's coming out, this is the one that's being fought in the United States side of the whole debacle, if you will, is that the United States government has been unable to serve Megaupload, the corporation, with papers regarding these criminal charges. You can charge a corporation with criminal activity. However, there's a problem here because there's no clause that allows the U.S. government to serve a foreign corporation that does not have any U.S. offices, which Megaupload did not. So, long story short, there's no practical way under the law to serve a foreign corporation. Now, that may seem like a potential out for Megaupload, the company, though it doesn't get the actual individuals from Kim.com at all off the hook. It does possibly mean the corporation is off the hook, but there's a problem with that. Did the United States government, in writing these rules, intend to make it so that foreign corporations without without some kind of U.S. base of operations could do anything they wanted to U.S. citizens and not be held legally accountable? The judge seems skeptical of that, and I think rightfully so. It's a bit of a stretch of logic. And judges have to weigh the intent of the law and what was meant to happen, not just, what is actually written. So they have a little leeway there, and the judge could issue a ruling against Kim.com and Megaupload on that one. But still, it's a thorny issue because that law was written and the rules were devised in a time where it was pretty much impractical for a corporation without some kind of, U.S. Local element to commit crimes in the country. So it was kind of an unthinkable idea at the time. But now with the internet, Ta-da! Entirely possible. So the rules have changed a lot in just the last, 20 odd years or so. And the laws, especially regarding international rules where there's all these treaties and whatnot, has failed to keep up, and I don't see how it could possibly keep up. So there's a lot of thorny issues here, and really it's something I want people to think about, less in terms of the Megaupload case and less in terms of copyright, but more in terms of the broader issues this raises. Just something to rattle around in your brain a little bit. And that's all I really wanted to say this time around. I'm sure I'll have more on Dotcom and Megaupload later. It's an ongoing issue. Believe me, you're going to be hearing about it on this vlog again. But you won't be hearing about it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. We abandon the copyright and plagiarism stuff, and we get to talk a little tech. Probably some browser-related stuff. Haven't decided what yet. That's the nature of this vlog. It's spontaneous. Even I don't know what I'm going to say when I fire up the camera. I had no idea I was going to say this. So until tomorrow, this is Jonathan Bailey, signing off.